Good day, Sir Bob. You can call me Johnny. I hope you find my story worth sharing. This happened back when I was still in college. I lived in a small dorm room with two other guys, Dominic and Tyron. From the very beginning, I already knew something was different about Dominic. People said he had a third eye. At first, I didn't take it seriously. He never talked about ghosts or tried to scare anyone. In fact, he stayed quiet most of the time, like he was deliberately hiding something. Looking back now, I think he was protecting us. Or maybe he was protecting himself from being left alone. We had been living together for about 4 months. It was around 2008 or 2009. We were just first-year students, carefree, immature, and honestly, not taking school seriously. One night we decided to drink. There were classes the next day, but we didn't care. There was some university program anyway, and we weren't really involved in anything important. So we drank. And that night, Dominic got really drunk. At first, his stories were harmless, things he experienced back in his hometown, or strange encounters around the university. Tyron and I were even laughing. But then, his tone changed. He started talking about the dorm. He told us we weren't alone. According to him, there was a family living there. A woman, a little girl, and a man. At first, he thought they were just normal tenants. He would sometimes see them coming out of one of the rooms, especially the woman and the child. But one day, he became friends with the guy staying in that room, and that's when he realized something was wrong. Because the tenant told him that room had always been occupied by men, only men. There was no woman, no child. That was the moment Dominic understood. What he had been seeing weren't people. I remember feeling uneasy at that point, but I still tried to brush it off. Until he continued. He said that one time while he was in the kitchen, he saw a man standing there. He assumed it was just another dorm mate. The man looked at him. Dominic was about to nod, but before he could even move, the man vanished. Just like that. Gone. The next time he saw that same man, he wasn't alone anymore. He was sitting at the bottom of the stairs, with the woman and the little girl. Dominic said his whole body froze when he saw them, but somehow, he managed to walk past them. And as he did, he felt something was very wrong. He knew they weren't human. Still, he told us they never harmed him, not the family. But there was something else, something far worse. He described it as a shadow. It moved from room to room, slipping through the gaps under the doors. It didn't have a clear shape. He said it looked like it was made of nothing but writhing limbs, like tentacles. And sometimes, it would crawl across the ceiling of our room. That was when Tyron and I stopped laughing. Dominic said the first time he tried to look directly at it, he got sick. For days, high fever, weak body, like something drained him. That's why, he said, he never looks at it anymore. He just prays and pretends it's not there. Every night he would place salt and garlic near his pillow, for protection. Tyron and I asked him almost at the same time, "Why didn't you tell us earlier?" He just looked down and said, "I was afraid you'd leave me." That night we seriously considered moving out. But semester break was just around the corner. And honestly, Tyron and I never experienced anything. So we stayed. Dominic promised he would stop talking about what he sees, and he did. Nothing ever showed itself to us. But Dominic, he was always sick, almost every week. Sometimes he couldn't even get out of bed. We kept asking him what was wrong, but he would just shake his head and say, "You don't want to know." The next semester, Dominic never came back. He didn't enroll. He didn't answer messages. He just disappeared from our lives. To this day, Tyron and I still talk about it. And we both have the same feeling, that whatever was inside that dorm didn't want Dominic to leave.
Sir Bob, good day. Please call me Michelle. What I'm about to share is something I personally experienced, and it still haunts me to this day. The worst part? It involves someone I trusted, someone I treated like family, my sister-in-law. Her name isn't really Lily, but I'll call her that. She was the sister of my boyfriend, Jerome. When she started college, she stayed with me in a boarding house. I even convinced my landlady to let her share my room. At first, everything was perfect. She was kind. She woke up early, cooked breakfast for us, took care of things around the room. I truly believed she was a good person. I thought I was lucky, but I was wrong. It started with a skin condition. At first, it was just small patches, itchy, annoying, but manageable. I covered them with makeup at work. I worked as a sales lady, so I had to look presentable. But the condition got worse. The itching became unbearable. Then the wounds started oozing. It was disgusting and painful. Eventually, I was forced to stop working. That's when I went to an folk healer, a traditional healer. And what he told me changed everything. He said someone was doing something to me, someone close, a younger woman, connected to someone I love. I didn't want to believe it, but deep inside, I already had a suspicion. Lily. Still, I couldn't accuse her, because despite everything, she was still kind to me, or at least, she acted like it. But then I noticed something strange. She suddenly started eating sardines and tuna all the time, and every time I smelled it, my skin would itch uncontrollably. That's when fear started to take over me. Then came the worst part. The thoughts. Dark thoughts. I would find myself imagining hurting myself, slitting my wrists, cutting my throat, throwing myself in front of a moving truck. It didn't feel like my own thoughts. The healer said it was part of what was being done to me. That's when I knew I had to face the truth. The healer gave me something, a flat white stone. He told me to burn it near her. If she was the one responsible, she would react. And he was right. The moment Lily smelled the smoke, she started coughing violently. She complained about the smell. She looked uneasy, panicked. And then, she left. She walked out of the house and never came back. That was all the confirmation I needed. After that, with the healer's help and proper treatment, I slowly recovered. But the fear never left me. Because even now, she's back, living with us again. And I'm pregnant. I don't know what she's capable of, but one thing is certain. If she tries to harm my child, I will fight back.
Sir Bob, good day. You can call me Rocky. What I'm about to share happened about 15 years ago. It's one of those memories I've tried to forget, but somehow it keeps coming back to me. At the time, I had just been assigned to work in a far-off place. I didn't know anyone there, but during the interview, I met two other guys, Rolly and Jimmy. We were from the same hometown, so we decided to rent a small room together. At first, everything was normal, but we didn't stay there long. We found out that some of the neighbors were involved in illegal activities and things would go missing, so we decided to move. Through some co-workers, we found a new place, a bigger room shared with 3 other tenants. They were cousins, Brian, his sister Dahlia, and their cousin Casey. The room was spacious, a studio-type setup with bunk beds and a small bathroom. It wasn't strict either, so even though we were mixed, men and women, it was allowed. Everything seemed fine, until Dahlia got pregnant. That's when things started to change. At first, it was just small things, sounds on the roof at night, like footsteps, or something dragging. We tried to ignore it, but one night, we all woke up at the same time. There was a loud crash on the roof, so loud it felt like something heavy had fallen from above. We all froze, staring at the ceiling. No one spoke. Dahlia was shaking, but she said her stomach didn't hurt. That night, nothing else happened. But it didn't stop there. One evening, Rolly and I went out drinking. Brian and the others stayed behind to look after Dahlia. Around 9 p.m., someone knocked on our door. At first, Casey thought it was us, but something was off. The knocking wasn't coming from the middle of the door. It was coming from the lower part, near the floor. She asked, "Who's there?" No answer. The knocking continued. She asked again. Still nothing. Then suddenly, Jimmy spoke. "Rocky, is that you and Rolly?" That's when the voice finally responded. "Yes." But instead of feeling relieved, they felt something worse. Fear. Because Jimmy asked another question. "Where's Jimmy? Is he with you?" There was a pause. Then the voice answered, "Yes, he's with us." At that moment, they knew. Whatever was outside that door was not us. Brian immediately poured salt near the door. Then he swept it toward the gap underneath. Right after that, they heard footsteps. Fast, running away. When Rolly and I came back later that night, they didn't let us in right away. They asked us so many questions first. Questions only we could answer. That's when we realized how serious it was. Even our drunkenness disappeared, because it felt like something really wanted to get inside that room. That same week, Brian and the others decided to go back to their parents' house. Dahlia stayed there where she would be safer. Jimmy eventually quit his job to stay with her. As for me and Rolly, we never heard from them again. But until now, whenever someone knocks at my door late at night, I remember that voice and the way it said, "He's with us." Sir Bob, good day. There used to be a boarding house in our area. It's gone now, demolished, replaced by a parking lot. But the story behind it still lingers. They say that back in the 90s, a terrible crime happened there. The place used to be an all-girls dormitory. Men weren't allowed inside. But one night, that rule was broken. A girl, let's call her Gina, lived there. She had a suitor named Adam. He was persistent, obsessive, but Gina kept rejecting him again and again. People say Adam couldn't accept it. Despite being the nephew of a local official, he still couldn't win her over, and that hurt his pride. So, he made a plan. He convinced Gina's roommates to let him in. With the help of the caretaker, he was allowed inside the dorm late at night. But he didn't come alone. He brought 2 other men. They entered quietly. While his companions kept the other girls occupied, Adam went into Gina's room. Minutes passed. Then he came out. He told his friends to leave. The girls kept asking where Gina was, but the men just rushed out. That's when the roommates started to panic. They searched the room, and there, under a table, they found her. Gina. Her mouth was stuffed with underwear. A cord was tied around her neck. She had been raped and killed. Adam was eventually caught, but that didn't end it. Because after that, people started seeing her. At night, a girl would be seen standing by the window, looking outside, waiting. A new caretaker once reported hearing crying from different parts of the house, whispers, footsteps. One day, while cleaning, he vacuumed something under a table. Hair, long strands of hair. When he looked underneath, he saw her, Gina, staring back at him, eyes wide open. He ran out and never returned. Even vendors passing by claimed they were called by a girl asking to buy something, but no one would come out. People avoided the place. Even drivers refused to stop nearby. The house was blessed many times, but nothing changed. Eventually, they decided to tear it down. Even the workers said they felt something watching them while they worked. Now it's just a parking lot. But some say, late at night, a woman's shadow still appears, standing, watching, as if she's still waiting for justice. Sir Bob, good day. This story isn't mine. It's my older sister's. Back when she was in college, she stayed in a dorm with a girl named Diana. At first, everything seemed normal, but my sister always told us she felt uneasy around her, like Diana was hiding something wrong. There were only 2 in the room, a bunk bed. My sister slept below. Diana slept above. One night, my sister suddenly woke up. No reason, no sound. She just opened her eyes. And when she did, she saw something. Diana, hanging upside down from the top bunk, her head lowered, hair falling freely, watching her. The room was dark, but light from outside passed through the window. enough to see the silhouette. My sister froze, but she forced herself to ignore it. She turned toward the wall and hugged her pillow until she fell asleep again. The next morning, she noticed something strange. Diana's hair was short, but what she saw that night had long hair. That was only the beginning. One day, Diana was forced to leave the dorm temporarily. Other tenants reported something disturbing. She had brought a human skull into their room. When the landlady checked, it was real, darkened, with traces of flesh still attached. Diana claimed it belonged to a medical student friend. Eventually, it was confirmed to be from a university lab, but the question remained, why bring it there? Then came the night that changed everything. My sister woke up again, this time because it was unbearably hot. Even though the windows were open, even though the fan was on, she looked around and saw Diana, walking slowly around the room, arms stretched out, whispering, naked, talking to someone who wasn't there. At first, it was just her voice. Then suddenly, another voice answered, a man's voice, deep, terrifying. They were laughing, together. That's when my sister couldn't take it anymore. She turned on the lights, and instantly, silence. Only Diana stood there, smiling, looking straight at her. That same night, my sister packed her things. She didn't sleep. She waited for morning. Before leaving, Diana said something. I can finally invite my friend here, without interruption. When my sister turned to look at her, she screamed. Behind Diana was a tall shadow, something inhuman, something dark. She said it looked like a demon. My sister left that day. She stayed in a motel for 2 nights before finding a new place. Later, she found out no one could stay long as Diana's roommate. The room always felt hot, cramped, like something else was there, watching. Many believed Diana was involved in something dark, something not meant to be seen. And even now, people still talk about that room.
Every story hides a shadow. Dive into the unknown with The 3 AM Tales, where true horror, twisted fates, and chilling mysteries are brought to life. Each episode whispers what you were never meant to hear. New stories every week. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and listen, if you dare.